What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV, back here for another episode of the Premier League's Perspective, doubled up with Predict the Prem, seeing as we've got some Premier League games to get through this week. There's 4 fixtures in midweek. Obviously, Tottenham playing Wednesday night, Arsenal Wolves on Thursday night, which is another big game in the top 4 race. But let's get into this perspective and review our predictions that we did make for the weekend's games. At the moment, it is 286 to 264 in Simeon's favour. And it is 5 points for a correct scoreline, 3 points for a correct result, and both teams to score 1 point for a correct result. And there's a star man as well, which is 2 points for a goal, 1 point for an assist. And as you can probably hear, my voice is still cracking up a bit from the weekend. I wanted to come in and do all the review stuff yesterday. I was actually dying to, but I was literally trying to talk and nothing at all was coming out my mouth. And that's a sign of a good weekend, that's for sure. And look, I'll have my piece on the podcast tonight on the Spurs. So let's get into the predictions, and let's start off with West Ham against Newcastle. It finished 1-1. So I got 5 points for that, going for 1-1. You went for 2-1 to West Ham, but it did finish 1-0 or 1-1.
Yeah, got it spot on. And it's a good result for us in the top 4 race. West Ham taking the lead through Craig Dawson, and in the stroke of half-time, Joe Willock with a really cute finish on the outside of his boot, making it 1-1. And West Ham just couldn't break him down. If anything, Newcastle will probably feel the team maybe a bit unfortunate they didn't go on and win the game, but I think 1-1 was probably a fair result in the end. West Ham seem to be struggling at the moment to really pull out like convincing performances. Even when they win, they won 1-0 against Watford with a deflected goal, like they're just scraping by. And it was a very, very... obviously, they nearly lost to Leicester last week as well. It was only a stoppage time header from Dawson, which got them the draw. And again, they struggled big time at home to Newcastle. And this was not even Newcastle's strongest team out as well. So, very disappointing result for them. And I think top 4 is disappearing quickly for them. Although they're still... technically still in 5th, 3 points behind United, but with everyone below them with all the games in hand.
A lot of games in hand as well. It's not just like 1 or 2, it's like 3.
Yeah, us and Arsenal both have 3 and Wolves have 2, so it's difficult to see them holding that position.
And I think earlier on in the season, when they were doing really well, I think we both kind of said that we don't really consider West Ham really in the top 4 race, and I think that's coming to the fore now. But credit to Newcastle, because they're on a good run of form, really good run of form.
Unbeaten in a few games, I think.
Yeah, I think
games.
they won 3 in a row, and I think now they've drawn 2 in a row.
I think, right? So I think 6 games unbeaten. That's pretty good for Eddie Howe. But also on West Ham, the goals for Antonio really dried up, haven't they, properly since the beginning of the season. So without that recognised striker, they struggle for goals.
Yeah. Arsenal against Brentford finished 2-1 to Arsenal on the day. Both of us going 1-0 to Arsenal, so a point each for us there. But Arsenal with a routine victory here.
Yeah, and they deserved it from what I saw. I was watching most of the first half, and I was pretty much watching until they went 2-0 up, and then I was like, oh, enough of this. But Brentford didn't really pose too much of a threat. No Ivan Toney, they didn't really have that outlet to make it stick up front. So it was quite simple for Arsenal to defend against them, I felt. But to be fair, they attacked fairly well. In the first half, they struggled a bit to really break them down. But in the second half, I think immediately they made their chances count. And Smith Rowe with a really good goal to open the scoring. Fair play to him. I can't remember off the top of my head who got the second goal.
Saka.
Was it Saka?
Yeah.
So fair play. It's a win you expect them to get, but you have to get over the line, and they did. And they did concede right at the end, though, didn't they?
And Brentford now really getting sucked into it at the bottom with the relegation scrap. When you're looking at it, Watford are 18th on 18 points. Brentford are 14th on 24 points, but Brentford have played 2 or 3 games more than anyone below them. Which is interesting. So they really are getting sucked into it, and they're really not getting the results at the moment for quite a while, actually.
Yeah, I mean, it happens sometimes with promoted teams. Like, it can happen where they have an amazing start to the season, like, and use that Premier League buzz, also the air of unpredictability about. I remember like Hull City. I remember they were like in the top four going into like December, like January, and then once May came around, I think they only stayed up on the last day of the season because they just fell off a cliff. And I think with Brentford, they were never obviously in the European places, but they've had a very good first half, and now maybe they're being found out a bit, and it's all about now just survival at this point.
Yeah.
Just get over there, make sure you're in the Premier League for next season, and then you can start to build on that.
And however good their start of the season was, that would have been their remit all the time, just coming into this league, wouldn't
Of course.
it? So,
how many points clear are they? Still 6 points, yeah, but they are 6 points clear.
but everyone below them has played less than games than them. Well, everyone.
It's true, but they're also below them. They're also in the bottom six for a reason, if you know what I mean. So
Yeah, but you know, with
Doesn't mean they're
Watford getting their first win under Roy Hodgson on the weekend, Burnley winning 3-0 away at Brighton, which we'll get into obviously. But you know, you've got teams below them. Newcastle performing well. Everton got a new manager now. Norwich is starting to
who knows
perform
what their
a little
games
bit.
in hand are? I don't even know who they're playing. You know?
But still, what I'm saying is that all these teams below them are actually starting to get results now.
True, especially, but yeah, Burnley. I'm beaten in a few games now, Burnley, which doesn't bode well for us. But anyway, yeah, you're right. Brentford need to be careful.
Let's move on to Aston Villa against Watford. Finished 1-0 to Watford at Villa Park. A massive result for Watford in Roy Hodgson's first win there. I went for 2-1 to Villa. You went for 2-0 to Villa. But Watford with a massive win here.
Yeah, and you know, first few games under Roy, they haven't been able to get the results, but definitely they've
Haven't been able to score.
Yeah, but they've only lost, I think, by the odd goal. I know they lost 2-0 to Brighton, but the other games, you know, it's been like 1-0 or it's been very close games.
Yeah.
So I think Hodgson has definitely made them more difficult to play against. And this is obviously the first time they've taken the lead, and they've managed to hang on to it. And Stevie G, you know, 2 losses in a row, 1 win in 5. Things are slipping for him a bit after a very good start as manager. Now the reality is setting in as to what's on the table. So he's got to watch himself because you know losing at home to Watford. I'm sure, you know, having signed Luka Dean, having signed Coutinho in January after the start he had as well. You know, more results like that, and they might start getting on his back a bit. I'm not even like, because you can't be losing at home to Watford. You know what I mean? That's especially on Villa are a team who they expect from the club they are. I know they just came up, but like a couple of years ago, but they expect to be near the European places. Like that's where they aim for. Maybe not this season, but like in a bigger picture.
Top half for sure.
Yeah, and you can't be losing these kind of games when you have the attacking talent he has. And he'll be very disappointed with that. But obviously, it's still very early days in his tenure. But
they are only 5 points above Newcastle.
Yeah.
You know, it's not exactly like... Obviously, I don't think they're going to go down, but they're not exactly safe as it stands right now.
And you can look at their squad, though, you know. Ings hasn't had, after a good start, he's dried up a lot. Ollie Watkins, apparently, then I read on Twitter the other day, a lot of Villa fans are not happy with Ollie Watkins.
And he started life under Steven Gerrard really well.
Yeah. And and also then you obviously Coutinho. We all know this is the thing about Coutinho. Like he's just so hot and cold. The other 1 week he gets 2 goals and an assist, gets a goal and assist on his debut, and then does nothing at home to Watford. That's simple Coutinho.
What I kept saying about him. Everyone, talking to me about Coutinho, saying, "Oh, we got to sign him. We got to sign him. World-class talent." And I was saying to them, even when he was at Liverpool, he was blowing hot and cold.
Yeah, that's what he does. And when he's hot, he's really hot. But like he's a 1 in 4 player. That's the thing, 1 in 5 player. And maybe we're starting to see that a bit now. Although maybe it's a bit harsh to say that. It's still very early on.
It is early on.
But look. 1-0 at home to Watford is a terrible result.
And Villa's next game is actually massive for them. They go away to Brighton, and they're 6 points behind Brighton with the game in hand. So it's a massive game for them, because if they lose that, suddenly...
3 losses could be 3 losses on the bounce, yeah.
Not just 3 losses on the bounce, but they could be quite a significant way behind Brighton.
True. And then all of a sudden, the top half looks out of bounds.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So That's that for Aston Villa. Let's move on to Brighton, which was Brighton against Burnley at the Amex, and it finished 3-0 to Burnley. A massive result for Burnley. Was that their second win of the season or third win of the season or something like that?
I think it's their second win.
It's mad at this stage of the season.
But a lot of draws, 11 draws out of their 22 games. That's half their games.
when you're looking at Brighton, you're saying they draw a lot of games. Burnley draw a lot of games. I was convinced this game was going to be a draw. I went for 0-0. You went for 1-0 to Brighton. But Burnley, absolutely brilliant result. Aaron Lennon back on song.
What a finish.
Weghorst as well. Brilliant signing he's been for them so far. Golden assist. I haven't seen the Lennon goal yet. But
brilliant finish.
Brilliant goal.
Brilliant finish. In off the crossbar from the edge of the box. Like, great little finish from him. And Weghorst, he's hit the ground running, hasn't he? And the thing is, it's showing what a coup I think it was for Burnley to get him, because he was like a really consistent goal scorer in the Bundesliga, and he was getting nearly 20 goals a season there, like playing really well. He was in the Euros for Holland.
He got more than 20 goals last season.
I can't remember exactly. I remember maybe the season before he got 18. I can't remember the exact figure last season. But look, he was a regular goal scorer. Could have been at least 20. And he was at the Euros, wasn't he, for Holland? Didn't he? I'm pretty sure he scored at the Euros, if I remember rightly, as well. So, like, what a coup for them.
You're right. He got 20 last season.
I think it was a real coup to get someone of his quality through the door, and he's showing what he can bring. He's definitely an upgrade on Chris Wood. As much as I actually am a fan of Chris Wood, Weghorst is a different level to him. I wanted him at Tottenham. Weghorst.
Yeah, I would have been happy when he went to Burnley. I was shocked.
It's not even that much money.
He's a player that I highly rate.
Didn't that much money, like 12 million or something, like really cheap. Couldn't believe it, and he seems to be the talisman now. I think he will be for them. And it always happens with Burnley at this stage of the season. They always, at the start of the season, they have a bad start. You're thinking, oh, is this going to be the year they finally run out of steam? And then come the second half of the season, they always, when it really comes to it, when it really matters, when they really need the results, they start getting them. And maybe that's what's happening now with Burnley.
Yeah, and you got to say, they are still 19th in the league, but they've got 2 games in hand against Watford and Newcastle. They're on 17 points, Watford on 18 points, Newcastle on 22 points. But the danger that they've got is that Newcastle are really starting to perform now. Watford just got their first win under Roy Hodgson. So it's going to be a really interesting battle for relegation, isn't it?
And also the problem is for relegation is like, you look at the bottom 3, Watford, Burnley, Norwich, and you look at who's not in the bottom 3. Let's say the next 4 teams, Newcastle, Everton, Leeds, Brentford. It's like, well, which of those 4 teams do you really see getting relegated?
Yeah,
it's difficult.
It is difficult. And when you look at the form books will tell you that Everton, Leeds and Brentford are actually the ones on the worst form of all of them.
Maybe, I think we'll
get Everton go down under Frank Lampard.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a second when we get on to Everton.
All right.
Let's move on.
Let's move on to Crystal Palace against Chelsea. Finished 1-0 to Chelsea. Both of us going 2-0 to Chelsea, so we both get 3 points on the board for that one. But yeah, another routine win for Chelsea here.
Yeah, and well, you say that 89th minute, Ziyech took him very, very late winner, and it was a very close game up until that, from what I could see.
Scoreline, should I say?
Yeah, fair enough. And they needed that, I feel, because a draw in this game, and they don't want to be sucked back in to the top 4 race. I think they're like probably one of the only teams in the top 6 where they're going to finish. It's like Man City and Liverpool now. That title race might be back open. The top 6 4 race, the 4th place, it's anyone's game. But yet 3rd, you pretty much know they're going to be third.
I think we've known that for quite a while.
Yeah,
as well.
They're going to finish 3rd. I think that win, keeps those points ticking over and making sure that they don't let their guard down, because they've got Champions League still, they've got FA Cup still, so they're still in a lot of games. There's still in a lot of competitions, but those crucial last-minute winners in those positions, that just keeps you ticking over. And
although if Arsenal win both their games in hand, they're only 2 points behind Chelsea.
Yeah, true, but they have to win them.
Yeah, of course. And one of them's against us.
Exactly, and the other one's Wolves, so that's difficult.
Yeah. All right, that writes that off then. Let's move on to Liverpool against Norwich. Finished 3-1 to Liverpool. You went 4-0, I went 3-0. And Luis Diaz with his first goal in the Premier League as well. And Liverpool keep plugging away there.
Yeah, and they actually took the lead, didn't they, Norwich? And all of a sudden, it looked like a shock was going to be on. It was like, I think they took the lead in the second half, did they? Or was it?
It was early in the second half.
Yeah, so you're thinking, wow, is they're actually going to pull off the unthinkable? But it was only a matter of time, wasn't it, till Liverpool, the whole front three as well, getting on the score sheet. Mane with a brilliant overhead kick, then Salah. Getting on the score sheet with a brilliant assist from Alisson, just lumping it all the way forward, and Salah got on the end of it, and then Luis Diaz getting his first goal for Liverpool. So the front three making a difference, and that's without Jota, without Firmino. Like they're showing their squad depth right now, Liverpool, and it's a great win for them. And with Spurs getting a result, it's really put them right back in that title race. It's now, if they win their game in hand against Leeds on midweek,
it's 3 points.
3 points, and that's it. And
they got to play each other still as well.
Exactly. So it looked like City were running away with it, but maybe there's life in this title race.
I think there is. I really think there is. And let's move on to Southampton Everton, which finished 2-0 to Southampton, which carries on Southampton's really good form. You went 2-1 to Southampton, so you gained a point there. I went 1-1, so I don't get any points there. But Southampton keep plugging away there. They're on a really good run of form. I mean, I tipped them to go down at the beginning of the season, but I think they are really playing well at the moment and getting results. I mean, in their last 4 games, unbeaten, 2 wins and 2 draws. But Everton, though, 4 losses in their last 5 games. And are they getting sucked into it?
Well, Frank has had 4 games at Everton, 1 in the FA Cup. He's had 2 home games, 2 away games, and he's won the 2 home games and he's lost the 2 away games, and that shows maybe that how brittle Everton can be when they don't have the Goodison Park crowd behind them, and they don't have the support. They can be quite easily turned over. I think Southampton at the moment, they're playing some brilliant stuff. They're playing some really good football. They're being really resolute as well. They beat Spurs. They drew to Man City. They're getting some really good results, and obviously beating Everton carries that on.
Man United as well, didn't
Drew
they?
Man United. Broja again being a thorn in the opposition side. I don't think he scored, but I saw the highlights, and he was just every time in behind, like giving them trouble. And Everton, they're really struggling at the moment. They really are. And even though they've got Calvert-Lewin back, they've got Richarlison back away from home, they're struggling. And Frank's maybe starting to realise what a big job he's got on his hands, because at the beginning, he's thinking, okay, we'll sign Lampard, we'll push the top half, but he's got to keep him up at this point, because they really are getting sucked into it badly.
And you know what the next game is?
What?
Man City. And you don't want to be playing Man City after they've just lost.
No, you don't. Man City at Goodison, that's going to be a real test for them. And especially like how Lampard wants to play. Ever since he's come into Everton, he's made they've brought in Van den Beek, they brought in Dele Alli, and he's made me think like, I want to be attacking, I want to be a front foot.
I thought you were going to go, I want to be like...
No, not quite. But like he said when he joined Everton, the best Everton teams are the ones that are attacking and throwing caution to the wind. But if you do that, we didn't do that against City. We were very pragmatic, resolute, and we hit them when we knew we could. But if Everton come out and think that they can just try and get chances against them, they've got another thing coming.
All right, let's move on to Manchester City against Tottenham, and you'll see the big smiles on our faces. Obviously, it finished 3-2 to Tottenham. You went 3-1 to Man City. I went 3-0 to Man City.
Both wrong.
But against all the odds, Tottenham go to the Etihad and come away with a 3-2 victory. Obviously, an unbelievable performance from Tottenham, and especially an unbelievable performance from Harry Kane, pulling the strings everywhere. And you know what was amazing for me for Harry Kane was like Spurs didn't have much possession in the game, right? I think it was like
28%.
Yeah, 30% possession, right? So Harry Kane didn't get the ball that many times, but every single time he got the ball, he made it count. every single time, and it was just unbelievable to see a masterclass like that. The passing range on show, and not just the passing range, but actually getting in the box and finishing as well. An absolutely sensational display from Harry Kane, and Tottenham played it to perfection, really. You got to say that it was a tactical masterclass from Antonio Conte, and every player was on job. So big up to Tottenham, and that is the reason why my voice is sounding very hoarse today.
Yeah, it was absolutely incredible. And, I wasn't shocked that we created chances, but I was so proud of the way we defended, and we kept our concentration, and we were compact. We didn't make anything easy for Man City. They didn't have chances to come by easy at all. The only chances that they had that they scored were a mistake and a penalty. So everything else was they very rarely got into dangerous positions. We were putting our body on the line, and that's what got us the victory. And it was the character, really. I think it was the character mentality of the team that drove us through in this game, and I couldn't be prouder.
Yeah, and also, like, Conte was said many times before the game and after the game that we prepared so well for this game. We prepared so well, and it showed on the pitch, didn't it? So yeah, that's that. Unfortunately, we don't get any points for that, but I'll take it. Next one, Leicester Sunday games. Leeds against Man United in a fiery game at Ellen Road. Finished 4-2 to Man United. You went 1-1, I went 2-2. It was 2-2 at one stage when Leeds were 2-0 down at half-time, when a really good showing from Man United in the first half. And then within 5 minutes of the second half, it was 2-2. But ultimately, Man United did show their dominance and got 2 goals after that, and it finished 2-2. But really, really good game of football.
Yeah, I think Leeds was struggling in the first half without Rafinha to really hurt Man United or keep possession. Man United definitely deserved to be 2-0 up at half-time. They got a goal from a corner, first time of the season. And obviously Bruno put them 2-0 up, and then you're thinking, you're thinking you never know with United, because they have a tendency of letting Leeds slip, and then 1-1 goes back to 2-2, you're thinking. And Rafinha had just come on as well, so you're like, oh wow, maybe it's going to be another case of United letting it slip. But they found a second wind. I think Fred coming on helped. He obviously got the 3rd goal, and then Elanga got the 4th, and they sealed it. And I think Leeds were carved open a few times. And after 2-2, Leeds took their foot off the gas a bit, and United came back into it. And I think Rangnick, you got to give him credit. I think he made the right subs at the right time to this one to get the win. But yeah, I think fair play to Man United. It keeps them in a very good position for the top 4 race.
There's a lot of talk from this game surrounding concussion and head injuries with Robin Koch, who obviously, was it Koch or Klich? I can't remember which one it was.
Yeah.
It was Koch. So he obviously got a bad head injury. He was suffering a bit from concussion, and the Leeds medical team said, run it off for 10 minutes and see what happens, which is completely against protocol, apparently. And he ultimately did come off in the end. But there's been a lot of noise about this, saying that the Leeds medical staff did completely the wrong thing here.
Well, Leeds actually made a statement, funnily enough, before saying that he passed all the concussion protocols, and they'd said, but if you do feel any symptoms, then sit down immediately and we'll immediately take you off. That's what they said happened. But to be honest, it's not the first time I've seen this, where a player goes down, they get checked for concussion, they play on, and then a couple minutes later, they are seeing symptoms and they go off. It's happened now at least 3 or 4 times that I can remember. So I think the Players Association are right to call it out, because I don't know whether the protocol's not being followed or the protocol needs to change, but and whether teams are just taking advantage of the fact that you can just say, he's not feeling the symptoms, then after a few minutes all of a sudden he is, and then you have to take him off. I think maybe teams are just hesitant to immediately take off their player when they're not 100% sure if he is feeling symptoms. But it's definitely a trend. I've seen it a few times now. A player goes down with concussion or with a head injury, they get checked for a few minutes, the physio says they're fine, and then a few minutes they have to come off. It's happened a few times, and that can't continue. Yes. And this temporary, they're thinking about doing temporary substitutions.
Yeah, I've seen that.
But the thing is, look, in theory, I'm in favour of it. Why not? But could that system be abused? I mean, because look, the fact of the matter is, however we want to see it, Premier League clubs will take any advantage they can get. They will
Like we saw with the COVID stuff.
Exactly. Any advantage they can get, they'll take it. So any loophole they can see, they'll take it. So I'm trying to think of a scenario for
Just
a temporary.
don't tell Arsenal because they'll take full advantage.
So what if a player like, let's say, Kane or something. Let's say he just needs a breather for 5 minutes to get his energy up. We did temporary. He goes down with a head injury.
Go up for a header, make out like you got a head injury.
Exactly. You go off for a bit, and then all of a sudden you come off. Then you come back on, and you're a bit refreshed. I don't know. I mean, is there a way to take advantage of it? Maybe, but I think we should definitely give it a go and see what if it will help.
Maybe there should be punishment set in place for people seen to be taking proper advantage of the rule.
Yeah, I'm sure. But how do you prove it?
That's the thing. All right, let's move on to the last game of the weekend, which was Wolves against Leicester. Finished 2-1 to Wolves at Molineux. You went 1-1. I went to 1-0 to Wolves, so I get a point here. And I thought Leicester were good for a draw in this game. I was watching it. I think really good goal from Daniel Podence. But I thought Leicester really did enough to get a draw out of this game, to be honest.
Yeah, just a couple of goals from outside the box for Wolves and got them the victory. Ruben Neves in the first half and Podence in the second after on either end of a Lookman tap-in. And yeah, Leicester again will feel aggrieved, but Wolves very solid again defensively. Leicester, most of their opportunities apart from Lookman's goal came from long-range efforts from Tielemans, which we all know he's got it in his locker, but Jose Sarr was equal to most of them. But Leicester will definitely feel they did enough to get a draw. But when again with Wolves and they're that solid defensively, once they take the lead, they're very difficult to react to, and they're very difficult to break down. And Leicester it was proven that. And I don't think Wolves were amazing. I think it was just one of those. I think it was like a solid win from their point of view. Like they got the lead. It wasn't one of those amazing displays where they were creating chance after chance. They just got a couple of opportunities. They took them clinically, and they held out for the victory. And it's a very solid win for them.
It's an interesting one with Leicester because right now they're sitting 11th in the league, right? Which their fans, their players will be extremely disappointed about, seeing where they've been in the last couple of years. Brendan Rodgers coming under a lot of criticism at the moment. But I personally think that actually they're playing their best football of the season right now. I think they're getting very unlucky in games. I think they deserve more out of the game yesterday. I think they deserve more out of the West Ham game where it finished 2-2. I think they deserved maybe not more out of the Liverpool game, but they definitely played well in that game. I thought they deserved more out of the Brighton game as well. And then obviously when they played us 5 games ago, yes, we played them off the park that day, but they were winning going into stoppage time. Yeah. So I think they're getting quite unlucky at the moment, Leicester.
Yeah, and I think it's just their defence letting them down. They're playing some good football, and actually throughout the season they've played. Their attack's actually been pretty decent. I think Maddison's had a pretty good season. I think Harvey Barnes, when he's been on the pitch, he's been playing really well. Vardy's obviously still one of the top goal scorers in the league with 9 goals. So I think their attack has not been an issue. It's just they've had big injuries at the back. And it's been a bit all over the place, unfortunately, in defence, and that's what's held them back.
Yeah. All right, star man. We both went for the same man in Mo Salah, who got a goal. So 2 points each on that one.
Should have gone for Harry Kane.
Should have gone for Harry Kane, yeah. None of us had the balls. But this week ends on 294 to Sim, 277 to me. Closing the gap a little bit to 17 points. But let's move on to our predictions. 4 games to predict this week. First one being Tottenham against Burnley on Wednesday night at Turf Moor. I have gone for 1-0 to Spurs.
1-0. I've gone for 2-1. I've gone for us to scrape. But I think Weghorst is in great form, and I wouldn't be surprised if he gets something out of us. But I think I'm just hoping I think Kulu. I'm hoping that having Kulu in the team, I'm hoping he starts. He might be able to help us a bit when the teams like Burnley are sitting back. I feel like when there's Bergwijn there or Lucas, they struggle a bit against these low block teams, and I'm hoping someone like Kulu can add a different weapon to our armory against these teams.
Yeah,
that's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah, I hope so as well. I think that Spurs at Turf Moor is a game historically that doesn't throw up too many goals. So I've kind of stuck with that theme. I think that Tottenham defence with hopefully Dyer still didn't pick up an injury in the game, but hopefully if we have Dyer, Romero and Davis as our back 3 to Burnley, I'm hoping that that we can keep a clean sheet in this game, first time for a while, and I think obviously we can get the odd goal from somewhere. I mean, I was toying with 2-0 as well, but I stuck with 1-0 because I think it'll be a bit tighter than what people kind of will hope for. So I've gone for 1-0. Sim's gone for 2-1 to Spurs. Let's hope it's not a repeat of the bloody Southampton game where we were getting confident. No. But let's move on to Watford against Crystal Palace. Both of us going for draws. I've gone for 0-0 here.
Yeah, I've gone for 1-1. I was flirting with 0-0 actually, because I feel like Hodgson, he's made his team very resolute, and Palace have drawn the last 2 games as well while struggling to score. I know obviously lost to Chelsea, but I've gone for 1-1. I feel like that both teams will get a goal from somewhere, but both teams have to share the spoils.
I've gone for 0-0 because since Roy Hodgson's come into Watford, I mean, they've been solid at the back, not conceding many goals, but again, not scoring many goals, only scoring 1, and that was in their last game. I think Crystal Palace as well, they're going through a bit of a dodgy spell in this season with 3 draws and 2 losses in their last 5 games. So I think these 2 teams could well just cancel each other out this week. So that's why I've gone for 0-0. Let's move on to Liverpool against Leeds. We've both gone for Liverpool victories, but what scoreline have you gone for?
3-1.
Interesting. I've gone for 3-0. It's an interesting one because Leeds do have enough firepower to score a goal, but I think at Anfield, with the defence they've got, I just do think they're going to be a bit too mean for this Leeds attack, and I think it'll be another convincing victory for Liverpool. Yeah,
I agree with that. I just feel like if Rafinha does start, he didn't start yesterday. When he came on, they got 2 goals instantly, so maybe if he does start play from the beginning, they'll be good for a goal. But yeah, Liverpool at the moment, their firepower is unstoppable. If it's not Salah, it's Mane. If it's not Mane, it's Jota. If it's not Jota, it's Firmino. If it's not Firmino, it's Diaz. So someone's going to get the goals, that's for sure. And if it's not them, then you still got Robertson and Trent to look out for,
exactly.
Who didn't even start on the weekend. That means probably they'll definitely start this time. So yeah, looks like I think Liverpool will definitely win.
Yeah. Last game of the midweek is Arsenal against Wolves, a big game in the top 4 clash, and it won't be a Predict the Prem if me and Simeon didn't have at least one of the same scorelines, and that's exactly what's happened here.
I was also playing with 0-0 on this one as well, actually. Because I think Arsenal were with a lack of proper strike. I know they got over the line against Brentford, but in this game, they're going to need a real physical presence,
and let's be honest, when they played Wolves last week, it was only like a lucky goal from a set piece, which I got a feeling that that's the way they're going to score on Thursday night.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a very cagey game. Wolves obviously have got 2 wins in a row now off the back of the last defeat to Arsenal. And also, the way Neves was speaking, they're going to want revenge, aren't they, in this game? And also, they do have a better away form than they do home form.
Yeah.
So I definitely expect a better performance from Wolves. But Arsenal, as well, going into this game thinking that if they win this game, they're in a very, very good position for top 4. This is a very crucial game. I think if they're going to make themselves favourites for top 4, they need to win this one. If they draw's not fatal, but it definitely sends out the signal that they can still be got at. Obviously, a defeat would be horrible, but if they win this game, that could be a sign in that they're well up for it into the end of the season.
Yeah, I don't think Arsenal mind a draw in this game. After going to Molineux and beating them, looking at the league table, the way it's sitting at the moment, I mean, Arsenal are looking like in a very similar position what we were looking at before we played some of our kind of games in hand and stuff like that, and before these 2 losses, they're sitting in a bit of a similar position. So I think if they draw, it's still in their own hands in terms of their games in hand if they want to finish in the top 4. So I don't think Arsenal will mind a draw in this game. So I think they'll obviously set up very defensively to frustrate Wolves, and I think it will be a very, very, very tight game.
You think they'll set up defensively to frustrate Wolves?
I think so, yeah.
Interesting. I don't. I think they're going to go for the victory.
Well, the thing is, they don't have much going forward.
I know, but that doesn't matter. They have confidence in themselves. That's what Arteta's done. I think they'll go for it.
Interesting. All right, let's move on to the star men. Sim has gone for Harry Kane, and I've gone for Mo Salah once again.
Well, Kane's in great form. I know Burnley are very stubborn, but hopefully he can carry that form into the weekend, into the midweek, and that's what I've gone for. I know it would have been very easy to go for a Liverpool forward, but I was very tempted, but I was like, you know what? let's go for it.
Yeah, it was between these two. These are the only picks this week that we could have considered, and I went with Mo Salah just because Liverpool have just got the easier game coming into it with Leeds at home. You know, there's going to be chances in there for Liverpool, and obviously Liverpool got the star quality as well to really put Leeds away. Spurs going away to Burnley, where I don't see that many goals in the game, so that's why I went for Mo Salah.
Yeah, fair enough. No, you're probably right, to be honest, but we'll see.
You went more with the heart over the head, and I went with the head over the heart. So look, that is our Predict the Prem. That is our Premier League's perspective. Let me know in the comment section below what your predictions are for this week, and let me know who you think is going to come out on top as well. Like, subscribe and comment, and as always, come on you Spurs.